Hello and welcome. As you might already see, this is a tier list of legendaries from the Rise of Shadows. This kind of stuff is really popular right now, and I decided to make my own twist on it. And first we'll start with a Khadgar. So this kind of thing with the Mountain Giant and Conjurer's Calling is a pretty powerful thing. Gain 4 minions, your opponent most of the times won't even able to answer to it, so this is a pure value and Trump would be proud of us. Then we got a meme-tastic card that is a little bit similar to the Purify. You might say like, yo, it's a pretty good thing, or it might get better later, but I don't think so. Like, right now, it just allows us to do some sort of like cool combo or tricks with Alex and Malleus for 1 mana, but it's a little bit inconsistent. You need to build a deck around it, and even then, it's just meme-tastic, not really powerful and consistent. I think I don't really have to say anything about the Nosewhisker. This card sucks, really. Like, okay, you can play this with some sort of shuffle effect, but most of this kind of decks are pretty weak. It's super expensive. You can play this with the Pogo deck, but Pogos are weak, and even buff won't really change it. When Barista is another really interesting card with a really huge potential, but the problem is that right now there is not even a single deck that definitely wants this kind of effect. It's a little bit similar to the Zola the Gorgon, but you know what, I want to say that sometimes it might be even better because you can just get few minions, but it's restricted to the Battlecry one, so I say that there is a potential for future when more cards will be released with some sort of Battlecry. Chef Naomi was a really powerful thing when Tempo Rogue was a thing, but right now when it got nerfed, we've got a slightly different win condition. We want to mostly focus on the Toggle Woggle rather than the Chef Naomi with Shadow Steps. So I have to say that right now there is only one deck that really wants to include this kind of stuff, and this is a pretty reliable win condition, a Miracle Priest, but even then, is it really as that powerful? Not really. So it might have potential for future, because it's good, we just need a little bit more like some sort of cycle effects. And then, the great villain, one of the greatest of all, and I have to say, this is a card is good in both like competitive scene, even if it's a little bit too random with all those legendaries, but still you get a pretty nice amount of value. You change your trash, you can play this in a control deck, you can play this in some sort of zoo, which is a slightly more aggressive variant, so I have to say that my lovely Ben Brody will take care of their fun. Then we've got Commander Risu, and the problem is that I experimented with few versions of the Secret Paladin, and this card is not really as that great. You might say, oh, okay, but you might get the benefit, but you already play a 3 mana for free, which is a pretty okay. Yo, those are decent stats for the aggressive deck, but at the same time, you won't always like trigger this kind of effect. It's just like, it might be better with few more secrets, and at the same time, sometimes you won't even trigger doubles secret, because when you've got auto defense matrix, so basically you can get 2 divine shields and only 1 will trigger. So then it's a pretty sad thing when you already got a secret, you do not even get like the bonus after it. I have to say, it's not trash, there is a potential, so it might be good, but not in this meta, when we'll see like maybe a little more secrets, or just, you know, more support for the aggressive Paladin deck. And Oblivitron, you know what, it's not a meme, it's more like a Purify. You need to build a deck around it, and even then it's just like, meh. It's super slow, but the value is real. But it's not like the value of the Khadgar, where you got 4 giants just like that, you slam them and then you win. Not really. With 9 lives, yes. And when you've got the specific kind of deck, it makes sense. Keepers, the Legendaries, in my opinion, another a really good designed card, a pretty powerful thing. It's cheap, the effect is really powerful. You can play this in like every single Druid deck. It's also in one of the best decks at the moment, which is a token Druid, and at the same time you might also say like potential for a future or whatever, good value town. It fits to like so many of those tiers. That's why, because it's like so powerful, and it will be better over the time when we'll get like more choose one cards. If you want a little bit of dust, Windrunner will help you out. Not only stat line, it's pretty weak, it's slow, it's bad. At the same time, you will get the weapon, but you need a specific kind of deck in order to like even get this bonus for the spell damage. And also at the same time, the other opponent can even like interact with it, so you know, Hearthstone is a fun and interactive game, and you can actually destroy this weapon with the use. So, and right now a lot of people play something like Hearthstone Jones. Oh, Caligus, you might say like this is a value, but you get like only one spell and then you get a discount, but this is a really good card. So it might be something like the Value Town or the good card, but the Value Town is like a sick kind of thing that might win you the game, and good card is like pretty close to it, but you know, a little bit lower. So Caligus is nuts. Then we got the Toggle Woggle. Oh boy, I would like to give it the Band Broad stuff because it's pretty competitive, it's memeless, it's, well, amazing, but I will say that's Value Town because sometimes it might be a little bit inconsistent with those effects that you get. For example, when you will play one of those treasures, you might get something random and you might, you know, end up with a pretty powerful 6 stuff or just a weak trash. So it all depends, but value is real. Pumpkin Hagata, another thing that's really powerful. It might be even better in the future, but right now Control Shamey is a thing, and this kind of deck really wants Pumpkin Hagata, especially because you can also play this with the Shutterwalk to get another dude. Like, yo, that's great, even if stats are pretty weak, but you get like sick amount of value. So once again, Value Town. It's a little bit similar to the Kazakus, but like with a different twist on it, the new cool mechanic. So I like the flavor, I'll like the value, like the card, like everything about it. Scargel. You know what? We can easily build a deck, a Murloc deck without the Scargel. Most of them even like skip this card, and I crafted it. Yes, I played a lot of variants of the Murloc Shamey, and I have to say it's not really necessary. So if it's not necessary, it's not even like it's that powerful, and 4 mana 4/4 meh. And you want to like play this with the Underbelly to get even more Murlocs, or just with something big on turn 5 to cheat out a little bit on mana, but this card can be easily replaced. So it's good, but not in this meta. So maybe with like few more Murlocs, with like the whole expansion around the Murlocs, this might get even better. Or if we'll have like a big daddy Murloc, and then this discount will be pretty important. Right now we do not even have quest to like cheat out this 5 mana 8/8 for 1 mana. So I have to say that there is a potential for future, because like this card is not as that good. It's just like it might be if in a specific situation, like Underbelly into Scargel into create the board just for 1 mana per 1 card. Then we've got the Boom River card in itself. It's not really as that bad. It's just like they trying to push the big warrior archetype, but we are still missing a lot of good powerful cards. So like if we'll get a little bit more control-ish kind of tools, and also if we'll get just more powerful minions, like let's say Dr. 8 Lich King, the comeback of a Lich King from the new expansion, I can easily say that there is a potential. Right now there are a few players, like for example Fibonacci, that managed to have pretty good results with this kind of like big warrior deck, but still, according to all the statistics, it's pretty low. So let's just slam the Boom River into potential for future for the big warrior. Then Dr. 7 in a way better version. Bombs are pretty powerful. This is amazing. This is a really good card. I would like to say that maybe it's a little bit higher because it's disgustingly powerful, especially with Dr. Boom at Genius, where you can just like rush with all those bombs and deal even more points of damage. But sadly, it's just a good card. It's a really pretty consistent thing in at least one archetype, and this is like a must-have in the Bomb Warrior, but you can't really even think about including this in any kind of different deck. Did someone say like a plot twist Warlock? I heard nothing. I heard nothing. Beatrick, you've got like your dust. Your dust for it. Then we've got Madame Lazul. I really love the idea behind this card because it's like a little bit like a Draconian Operative, but a slightly cheaper version, and you actually get the inside info on the opponent's hand, which is pretty powerful because then you will be able to play around the brawl or just anything else. But sometimes, like you want to include this in a control priest deck, and sometimes if you play against like aggressive deck, you don't really need this like pirate or more damage or burst, but it might be useful. So I have to say that this is a pretty good, consistent thing in Control Priest, which is not a thing right now, so there is a potential for future, or this is a good card, but not in this meta. So I have to say that it will be good if Priest will get a little bit more board clears and just ways to win late game. Katrina Muerta. So this is played in the Resurrect Priest, but Resurrect Priest right now is a decent, like the bottom of tier 2 deck with something around the 55% win ratio, so actually you can climb, not like reverse climb back to rank 20 or even 50. Okay, just kidding. So basically, yes, this is a really powerful card in a specific deck, but it can be countered with any kind of like Hex or Polymorph, and we know that Hex right now is super popular. Polymorph, not really, but and this is like really hard to you know, give it a space or whatever. Like, there is a potential for future. I mean, or this is a good card. Okay, if we'll see, like, once again, a little bit more board clears, all good consistent healing for Priest, and at the same time, like, just one more good board clear, or maybe something else that works with Mass Resurrection, this will be, like, even better, and maybe, finally, this will push, like, the Resurrect Priest to a top. Basically, you get this out from the Mass Resurrection with the Wargot, let's say. Not only you get like heal plus 6, get plus 6 minions, whatever, because Wargot will cast another Mass Resurrection, but also then Katrina Mortar will give you another thing. So, this is like the best scenario. Mass Resurrection will fill your board with big minions. 7 big boys for 9 mana, then your opponent probably concedes. Archivist, wow, it costs 8 here, but after nerfs, it's 9, so basically it's a little bit worse, but still, this is a value town. In any kind of control deck, I would include not only one, but like, I don't know, 10 copies of it, to just be sure that I will win the late game. But yes, I also understand that there is a turn limit, and this kind of card like can be played forever, whatever. It's a pretty consistent and good stuff in control decks. Shamey can even get out from the Shadowbook an additional 10 cards. So right now at 9 mana, it's harder to trigger this with Brewmaster, or maybe with the Baleful Banker, but still this is a pretty powerful and unique effect for any kind of late game. Loosened Bark, okay. This is played in the Heal Druid, which is not a thing. It got less than 50% win ratio, but I'm not really sure. This is not a good card. There is a potential for future if they will support this kind of stuff a little bit more. It's really easy to counter, so if this deck will be like too popular, they will just play something like Silence or Polymorph Effect, so it's not even as that good. It's just like, yeah, you can try to make this a thing, but it won't really work as that well. And then we've got the Nuzari, which is like I think another, because it's not like a pure death, because I see this in some sort of weird scenario after like few expansions that you might want like 10 mana Reno Jackson. You play this in like super slow deck, and then you kind of like buff Paladin. That maybe one day will be a thing, but right now no. Just like, yo, stats are okay because it's just a big Dragoon that's super hard to kill, but at the same time it's like 10 mana Reno Jackson with a little bit smaller restriction. But first, Control Paladin should be a thing, and then, yeah, maybe. And Archmage Wargot, once again, this is a really powerful thing. You can't really include this in like every single deck ever, but this is a really good thing. Maybe even like the Value Town, I would like to say, because in terms of stats, it's pretty okay. You can play this on turn 4, and also you can just like get even more cards, especially with Twin Spell. It works pretty well, but it's played only in few decks, but it will be also better over the time when we'll see just more spells. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, remember to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know what do you think about those tier lists, if you agree with my ratings, and also if you would like to see more this kind of tier list weird creations, because I might also just do the ratings of classes, like few specific cards, or just a meta in general, so some sort of like meta report or snapshot. So see you in the next videos.